Yes, Jack, I got autism.
Hi, I'm Shay. I'm Jack's mum. Jack's 6, turning 7, and has autism. Jack was a typical baby to begin with. Everything seemed to just be going as usual. It's just he often didn't make eye contact with us or wouldn't respond to his name. And he just seemed to be isolated. He liked to be alone, a lot happy, but just alone and very unresponsive to anyone. His family, friends, grandparents, brother, he just didn't seem to be interested in interacting with any of us in any way. My parents actually sent me an article that was in the newspaper about a little girl who had autism. The first time I was like reading Jack on paper, there was a lot of similarities, and that's what started our journey into getting Jack diagnosed. It was a weight off our shoulders once we got Jack diagnosed because it just started to make sense. We had an answer as to why he had limited eye contact, why he had a speech delay. So it just was a relief for all of us that then we could now be proactive. If I could say something to encourage a parent is to not be scared. It's not that scary, it's actually wonderful. Jack's brought us, he's changed our entire family. We celebrate all the small stuff now. You stop and you smell the roses. I think with my first son, you're in a rush as parents. You I gotta go to work. And so you're always rushing to do things. Jack just slowed everything down for us. We say it all the time, I'd like to see what his mind looks like in the inside. Because however he lives, it's beautiful to me. It is, it's just always so happy. There's no judgment, there's no cruelty in him. He's just happy and loves love. So if that's what it is, then it's nothing to be scared of.
Mom?
Yes?
What's your favorite animal?
Penguin. What's Jack's favorite animal?
A monkey?
I would say to people that do donate to Aspect is that they're helping families see their kids get to their full potential. It absolutely changes your life, their life, everyone's life around you. And it's beyond important and appreciated.
Okay, welcome everybody to round 15 of the Trackstars TS2 touring cars around the lovely Kyoto circuit. And what you guys just saw there was a little supporting thing from our main sponsor, from Elite Braking Mechanical, who are the main sponsors of the Trackstars series. They are doing a fundraiser for autism. Joined in the box, I do have my fellow commentator in Nicholas Patasso and Spud P666, and also we have EBM S Mitch, Shane Mitchell from Elite Braking Mechanical. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, and thanks for jumping on board, Shane. And yes, like you said, DJ, Shane Mitchell is the owner of Elite Braking Mechanical, a Trackstars Racing Series main sponsor for the main series touring cars. It's lovely to have you in the commentary box, mate. And what we saw was a beautiful video that you've put together for us to display on YouTube. But what we want to know is we want to know a little bit more about it. So what are you guys promoting? What is it all about?
Well, we just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the event. Trackstars teams will be involved in this event as well. So we combined with Tickford Racing on this event for the EBM TV Tickford Racing Drive for Autism. Basically, during our time at EBM Motorsport, we've met a lot of legends in the sim racing community. The one that we are very close with is our good friend Ozzy Coppite. He runs in this series and in other series with us as well. Since joining us at EBM, he's gone above and beyond, so we wanted to return the favour to him. Somebody that he is very closely linked with is Autism Spectrum Australia, or commonly known as Aspect. So basically, he sent us a little bit of information about it, and we just wanted to get behind it and return something back to the community. So there was a little bit of information I thought I'd just give everyone. So basically, did you know that 1 in 70 people are on the autism spectrum? Along with their family members, this means that autism is a part of daily life for over 1 million Australians. Each person on the autism spectrum sees, hears, feels, and experiences the world differently. For many, simply coping with the everyday can lead to confusion, anxiety, and isolation. By donating to the EBMTV Tickford Racing Drive for Autism, you'll be helping to provide opportunities for people of all ages on the autism spectrum to engage, participate, and thrive in the world around them.
Well, it's a lovely.
We hope that you
sorry.
can make a donation to help us reach our target of $10,000. No, you're fine.
Yeah, so as you mentioned there, we are Elite Breaker Mechanical EBM are on the hunt to raise just over $10,000 for Aspect, and we are definitely as you've mentioned out. A lot of leagues have been involved in this series, and so far it looks like we have a few entries confirmed in the Race for Autism on Sunday, the 14th of November 2021. Would you like to run through the confirmed entries?
Between plenty of leagues that have entered, but just to run through basically all of them from top to bottom. Our entry list so far is EBM Motorsport, obviously. We are running the event, so we get behind it. We've got It's Racing, who'll be joining us, obviously the league owner and runner of this league, an all-round legend, so that was handy with him jumping on board. Along with Mash Buds Racing, who is with us here today. So, how did you decide to get on board with us there, Spotty?
Well, I in a way that I got the invite from yourself, and then I've got did a little bit more into the research of the aspect and with the autism with people that do have autism, and I myself I'm a part-time swimming instructor at a swim centre nearby my place, and I've definitely got I've got qualifications in dealing with people on the spectrum, working with people on the spectrum, and teaching kids that are on the spectrum and do have autism. So it is kind of in my heart to have to know that I help these kids learn how to save their lives, but also now I get to race for these kids especially. So it was one close to my heart, and I couldn't say no to it. So as I say, I do thank you very much for the invite, Shane, and yeah, I can't wait to race on the 14th of November.
That's excellent, mate. That is great to hear. There are, obviously, I'll quickly run through the other teams here, so I'm not holding you up for too much longer, but we have Robo Sport Racing, who's obviously hugely involved in track stars and very closely linked with us at EBM. Robbo's a great guy. Triple R Motorsport from one of the other leagues that we run, which is Trailblazers. We also have Mad Turtle Racing, Pit Lane Esports, who I believe you guys are also closely linked with as well. We're SLM Motorsport, Ragged Edge Racing, Caviar Racing Team, Road Sick Racing, and that's pretty much the list. CP Motorsports as well, who are obviously a major runner in this event too. So they are very, very fast teams, and we're looking forward to putting on a great event and hopefully being able to hit our target of $10,000, which would be absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. Yes, and DJ or Ryan in the combox is he is the lead runner in the Pit Lane Esports team here at Trackstars, and I'm pretty sure he himself will definitely be looking to make a donation towards a great cause that you've been promoting.
Yeah, obviously. Sorry, I haven't been Kenty hasn't come up to me regarding the race and stuff like that. But maybe Jarman might look at getting me to race under him. I'm not too sure yet, but that's obviously a little bit further away. But yeah, I'll definitely be looking to donate to that, because obviously kids like that, they don't have such a great life, I guess, as what someone who doesn't have autism has. So they see things differently, they act differently, they in a way they bring light to other people's lives in the way that they see stuff differently. So it's good as well that Tickford's behind it as well. Obviously Tickford being in the Supercars series as well, and obviously you guys are down at EBM sponsoring Zach Best as well, so it's really nice for them to get behind it, and just for everyone to be fundraising that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys reach a goal, and I'll definitely be looking to donate that as well. So I'll talk to the other boys and see what the go is, and I might race, I might not race, but worst case, mate, might even get me in as a streamer or commentator or something. I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
That sounds awesome, mate. I can tell you right now, if you do want to race and you don't have another seat anywhere else, I'm sure we can find one for you in EBM.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to see if I can get a bit more involved there. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about the race itself on Sunday the 14th. Like what cars can the audience expect to see on the 14th of November?
All right, so because of our association with Tickford, and honestly dealing with Tickford has been amazing, I wrote to them and just mentioned it, that we were running it and if they wanted to get involved, and they jumped on the chance straight away. So because of their involvement, we are going to be running the GR3 Mustang. It is going to be a one-make series. It's going to be balance of power, and there are a few other little bits and pieces that we're going to be doing in the way of starting fuel and tyre wear. So it's going to be quite interesting. There's probably 2 different ways that you can run the race, depending on what sort of driving style you have, which it should make it pretty exciting, whether or not you're going to pit or not pit. So that's going to be good. And we're also going to be running 4 stints of 25 laps, effectively running it as basically each break would effectively be a safety car. So it allows everybody the chance to be in it to win it at the end, because eventually, or at the end of the day, we're all in it for autism and we want to see a banger race.
Absolutely, and it's not about winning it on the track. As much as winning on the track is one thing, it's the most important thing is that we all race as one, and we all race for a good cause. And that's why you've seen a lot of teams get involved in your charity event, Shane. And we're all, and pretty much like you've said, we're all in it for autism, because autism isn't a disability. It's just somebody with a different ability.
True, and I'm honoured that everybody has been able to get behind this and really push it forward. So far, we've already raised over $2,200, so that's already more than I originally anticipated. I know I had a target of 10, but you never really know where it's going to go, and everybody's just jumped behind it. Definitely some of the other teams, Ragged Edge Racing has come through with a huge donation of over $1,100, so really pushing it forwards and making it happen. And I look forward to pushing it in the future over the next few Trackstars events to really try and help raise some money for families affected with autism.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely 100% be advertising this when our Bathurst 1000 comes along in a month's time. But for the moment, we do thank you so much for coming into the commentary box, Shane. It is a pleasure to have you on board and to have our main sponsors in Elite Brake and Mechanical join us in the commentary box. Like you said, Trackstars is 100% in it for autism, and we will be there on the grid. So thank you so much for joining in on us, Shane, and have a great night. So
thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the racing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Perfect, bud. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Getting back to the racing series here. We got 5 minutes to go until we start qualifying for the TS2 round 15 Kyoto sprint. We have obviously the drivers in practice at the moment. We got Matt fastest with 120.6, but we did have Vipers there very close behind him, so we're just waiting to see. But yeah, a big thank you to the guys down there at EBM, down on the south part of Australia. If you guys are down there, down that part, go say hello to the guys. They're more than welcome. Mention you're from Trackstars, and they will look after you and treat you like family. But yeah, thank you so much for EBM and Tickford to do this whole race for autism thing. So
absolutely, and like I mentioned to him, like I am a part-time swimming instructor, and I work with kids with kids on the spectrum, and they do have autism. So it pretty much was a no-brainer for me to not accept it, and I just accepted it with ease and putting in my donation in. And we do encourage our Trackstars fans and community here on YouTube and even in our Discord that it doesn't have to be the biggest donation. Even if it's something like $1 or $2, that $1 and $2 is going to lead towards the target of 10,000 of reaching over $10,000. So any sort of change you've got, it's always nice to donate to charity. But the charity in charity for Elite Breaker Mechanical Race for Autism, Sunday the 14th of November 2021. But yes, as you've mentioned, we are live here for TS2. We've just wrapped up with our TS3 race, which was spectacularly won by Gordic69, a clean sweep for him for the WRT Motorsport. Now it's time for the newer cars, 2016 models, Nissans, Hondas and Lexus GT500s. And we have a few returning faces, DJ, that you may not have seen since round 1 and 2. We see one Ando787 who's making his return back in the TS2 field, and I will say that he was a man that was up within the top 3 instantly off the mark before Little Blacker managed to get those victories. But Ando787 is definitely a driver that I've raced with so many times this year, and I can say that he is not a slow driver whatsoever. So he'll be one to keep an eye on come race time.
Yeah, I've raced alongside Ando as well, and he definitely is a very fast driver. So maybe being out of the GR2s for a little bit, it might be a little tiny bit off the pace, but I think he's about 0.4 off Matt, so that's pretty impressive, considering he's been out for so long. So I'd definitely be looking out for Ando. And then we've got Viper as well, obviously. Matt is in the Honda, Viper is in the Lexus, and then you've got Zolan down in 11th place so far. So he's 0.3 off Matt, I believe. I'm not too sure if the timing's right. But yeah, so it'd be definitely one to watch out for over the next 15 laps. But these guys are on racing medium tyres, so they're not on the racing softs like the TS3. We try and keep them as close to the main spec as possible. So I am missing H4M Wallet here, which is unfortunate. So hopefully he's got 1 minute till we go racing, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make the race as of yet.
Not so sure, so hopefully he can jump on as quickly as he can, but unfortunately, but we will have to go to our race time, and if he does jump in during qualifying, we will have a red flag and he can jump in on the grid at the back end down towards the rears. But as we said 1 minute ago, so definitely the driver to look out for are the top 2 drivers in Mint, Matt and Viper Z, both from BCG and Satellite Racing respectively, but both will be racing alongside the main series drivers in Jarmondale. It's racing partnering alongside Mint Matt and Liam Tame, is that right? Is that his name?
Yep.
Liam Tame?
Yep. Yeah, Liam Tame.
Liam Tame alongside yourself, DJ, in the number 24 Lexus. So both starting provisionally 1st and 3rd in the qualifying before we get ready for our top 6 shootout very shortly. But as we get ourselves about to kick off the qualifying, we're going to place our Monopoly money, DJ, and who we got for pole position this time round?
You know me, mate. I got to go with my teammate in Viper Z. Have to. It's got to do it, mate. I can't do anyone else. I would have put it on Matt, but I got to follow my teammate. He's showing some very, very good pace in that Lexus. and he's worked with me and got me down from a 19.9 to an 18.5, so which has gone quicker too. So my monopoly money's on Viper.
Oh, that's an interesting one. So I'm definitely going to put some money on Matt for sure. So definitely Matt looks like he's a little bit more comfortable in his Honda compared to the last time out in Monza where he was having a horrible time. And I would say like probably his last few rounds in the TS2 just probably hasn't been like vintage Matt, as you could say. Like I mean, he's definitely been working hard he's been working hard with his Nissans, but as soon as he made that transition to the Honda at Monza, he was nowhere near it. He was nowhere near the pace.
Yeah, he obviously likes his Nissan. We know that.
Absolutely.
And we know that Viper likes his Nissan as well. So they both made the transition to get him used to the Enduros, because we do have the three races, 3 Enduro races at the end of it. So Diswood's unbiased DJ, mate. How can I be unbiased? I got to go with my teammate. Would you not go if Speedy was here and you're putting Monopoly money down? Would you or would you not put money on Speedy? Well, you probably would, because you'd probably give him a tune. Oh, he's gone. Yeah, see, Duran 50. He's gone for his teammate. I'm telling you, mate. How can I be unbiased?
So this is going to be interesting. So we see some top caliber drivers now coming into that are now filling up the grid in TS2. We see obviously we have Matt, we have Viper, we have Duran 50, and now we've got Xylon 96, but now we've got Ando 787. So where do you think Ando will be able to slot in amongst those fast guys?
From his previous performance of what I can remember, I reckon he may be around the, say, 3rd, 4th, 5th, say top 6, I reckon. But obviously we do have good quick fire guys here in Budsy, Mickey's, Rugworth, Duram. But it's very interesting here. Duram 50 is in the Honda in the main series as a co-driver, and he's in his Nissan. So we did give the drivers the choice to change cars, but Duran 50 was the one that says, no, I'm going to stay in my trusty Nissan in the TS2, and then I'll swap over. So unfortunately here we may see Duran hopefully up the front. Oh, little Blacko, luckily there I was about to go green, mate.
So as we get ourselves ready for qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, we've made our picks. DJ's gone for Viper, I've gone for Matt. It looks like Woodsy's gone for Duran 50. I wonder if we're going to get another prediction in the chat there. Looks like Papa's saying, Papa in the chat saying getting their Ando, peak Ando loading. That's definitely right. I know, I definitely can say that for sure. Me racing with him in plenty of series that we race in, so it's definitely something that, you know, he's a great qualifier. When it comes to the one lap, he knows how to qualify a car, so I won't be surprised to see him up in the top 3 or at least top 5, but definitely I wouldn't see him lower than 5th place.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with that as well. So he's a very fast driver and he can adapt to a new car very quickly, and I believe we got Woodsy here saying welcome back Ando too. Good to have him back. It is good to have Ando back. So hopefully he'll be able to join us next year, hopefully for some more races. I do believe he's here today because he has, is it Wheel to Wheel tomorrow or Rouge, I believe?
So he's got other league commitments tomorrow, but luckily we've got TS2 on Saturday and he's definitely free, so good to see him in, and he'll also be in the Porsche Cup tomorrow morning as well. So it's good to have Ando back. We always love having him in the Track Stars because we know he is a top driver, and a driver like him we miss a fair bit in Track Stars, but it's good to have him back for the Kyoto sprint as he's coming around the final corner to start his flying lap around Kyoto. So about 6.5 minutes to go. Obviously they've all done their out lap, got a sight of the tracks, and here we go. We're going to get our first lap in. Ando 787 leading the way ahead of Matt and Xylon 96 coming towards the first corner. Run that car wide onto the ripple strip and just hug it in nice and tight. Ando looks like he's done a nice job hugging in that inside at the last minute before you run it wide. Coming through the S section, just try to keep it tight as you can, straight as you can, not too much steering input, otherwise you'll lose hundreds of seconds there. And then coming up towards the top of the hill, downhill, this is a tricky section to try and master, try and get tugged in nice and tight towards the back end of the apex. Looks like he's done a nice job there. A good clean lap for Ando, but this section is the most crucial one, DJ. Just coming down towards the downhill section of the chicane, try to run it straight, try to do a little bit of corner cutting there, which the game won't pick up actually. So even though you corner cut the track, sometimes the game will give you some leeway and you won't get any penalty for it. But looks like Andos has gone a little bit conservative through there. The slow hairpin at the top where he negotiates that very nicely. But look at that, if you look behind, Matt is definitely closed up to Andos. So it looks like Matt's going to be on a flyer compared to Andos. He negotiates that last tricky chicane for the final time on this lap. And then coming around the final corner, let's see what the first benchmark time is from Andos 787 from Gridline Racing to car number 787. Coming across the line, we're looking at about a 1 minute 21 as a reference, and it looks like we've got it. We've got ourselves a 1 minute 21, and mid-match straight away right behind with a 1 minute 21 point one. There you go. So right behind him, and then in second place that is that Duran 50.
Yep, and Viper just jumps to the top. So we'll let all these guys go over the line. When they go over the line, then we'll go through the time. So just to save drivers jumping up and down. So it's good to see Ando not too far off the pace. So now that everyone's gone across the line, we've got Viper in first so far, provisional pole with a 1 minute 20.579. Mid-Mat in second place with a 121.117. Duran 50 with a 121.354. Ando in fourth with a 121.9. Sir Slayer with a 122.1. Zylon slightly behind him by 10,000 to a second, I believe that is.
Oof, yeah, very tight.
Yeah, with a 122.142. Nightwalker in 7th with a 122.9. Rugworth with a 23.1. Robbo with a 23.2. Mickey's with a 23.7. Budsy with a 23.8. Devil and Calypso with a 25.4. And Blackwood, who hasn't currently set a time, looks like he's in a pause menu. So you'd want to get out of that pause menu and get on your bike, my friend.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, he's down in 13th place there, and he's got himself not much time before he can get at least probably another couple of laps in before the time runs out. As we see Viper and Duran coming to the pit lanes just to get a change of tyres. But it looks like the grid order hasn't changed. Let's look on board Matt's lap here. So he's just down there. He's down about 0.1 on Viper's time, so nice little onboard. Let's listen to the sights and the sound of this Honda NSX. I'm pretty sure guys like DJ, Papa, Jarman are just aching to hear the inboard sound as it comes through the tight section of the chicane there. It looks a little bit conservative there, so I wonder if he's going to make an entry to the pit lane and maybe change onto some tyres, because that didn't look overly fast compared to what a mid-mat lap should be.
Yeah, it didn't look overly fast, but I'm not too sure about the TS2s, whether what the time doing. Okay, no, 2.8 behind. So I think he's going to be doing a following of the Duran and Viper and jumping in the pits, putting a fresh set of mediums on. So we'll see how it goes. Use a little bit of fuel. They're actually carrying extra fuel, so they're carrying the default amount of fuel, so 100 litres. So they're all on the same amount of fuel. Do a little bit of fuel burn, jump in the pits. Oh no, he doesn't. So he's going to go here. Oh, Duran. That's an Ando, it's a 121.
An Ando lap. So he's definitely closing up the gap towards the front runners there. So Ando's definitely not losing his touch in the Group 2 Nissans, and he's doing himself a great favour in the number 787 in 4th place, as we also see Xylon 96 promote himself up into 5th place there. So a nice lap from him over his main rival in Sir Slayer. And you could say a guy like Sir Slayer, Xylon definitely and Duran, and I would say those two guys are definitely the ones that are going to be moving themselves closer towards the front. But I would say out of the top 5 guys that we've been seeing mostly, I would say Xylon is probably up there as probably the third fastest driver.
Yeah, definitely. Like, not seeing Ando for so long and then having him jump back in and instantly he's top 5. So that's very nice to see, and that's what you want in a high caliber driver. So solid work there by Ando to come back in, and then Xylon to be not long behind him. And as we know, compressing the field in the race, it may turn a few heads.
Absolutely, and we've seen a great rivalry between Cylon 96 and Endo 787 in last year's Formula 2 event, where these guys were fighting tooth and nail up until the final race at St. Croix B. And all it took was just one position, and that would give that driver second place in the championship. And Xylon 96 overtook Ando on the second last lap and managed to get himself, I believe it was second in the race, and then it turned out to be second in the championship. So it was very fine margins between Xylon and Ando. Those guys are now back at it with each other on the grid, fourth and fifth place. So it'll be something to see again. Good memories, but it'll bring out good memories for those guys, but in different machinery. That is the Group 2 GT500s.
Yeah, it's obviously good to see the GT500s, and in going back into the GT7, I think they're going to bring back the old GT500s, but Matt's been setting quicker laps, but then we've also seen Viper Z in the 56 satellite racing going even faster.
Purple in that section there, looks like. So, that was probably a purple lap. So he actually improved his lap just there.
Yeah, so he's gone from a 20.579 to a 20.516. So he's actually gone slightly faster, which also has put a little bit more of a gap on Matt. So I'm not too sure Matt's liking the specs of the TS2 at the moment in the Honda.
Yeah, definitely compared to the main series Honda, which is a little bit faster, a little bit lighter on weight. He's definitely not one with the TS2 Honda NSX, but that's it for qualifying. Looks like Matt's going to inherit second place. Nobody looks like he can make a challenge. Viper looks like he's on pole. What about Duran 50? Can he get any improvements on his final lap as he's coming around the final corner? Right behind the slipstream of Nightwalker there, so he might be able to pick up a slight tow from Nightwalker, but can he take second place off Matt after this lap? No, he doesn't, so he will still hold third place. But Cylon 96 has actually promoted himself up into fourth place, DJ, so that's an astonishing lap by Cylon there, and that's definitely solidifying his chance of being at least by the end of this race the new championship leader in TS2.
Yeah, and I know that the championship is very, very close, so I'll just go into the championship leaders. Oh, it hasn't been updated, so yeah, he's got to be very, very close after the last round, because we haven't got around to doing the results yet. So apologies for everyone doing that. We've had a lot coming on, including the Enduros. We will do all the touring car results from Monza plus Kyoto all together once we get everything through, so you'll all be notified of that one. But I know that Zolan did close it up as per the last race.
I don't know if you saw the results page, DJ. Little Blacko in 12th place, so this is hurting Little Blacko's progression, where he had so much confidence at the beginning of the season, and now he's as low as 12th. This is definitely not the Little Blacko that we know.
Yeah, well, he's done a 24.2 there, so that's very surprising. But I have noticed that the Nissans... Actually, sorry, I'll let you go, Green. Sorry for that. You go.
That's okay. So we've got 5% versus Mid-Matt. Old rivalries, but a friendly rivalry between Viper and Mid-Matt. As we wait for those lights, it is lights out. Green flag racing. So it looks like Viper's got the initial launch there, but Xylon 96 is coming side by side with Duran 50. Can Xylon hold that inside line and go side by side and inherit third place? He does. So he's right up in third place, but Duran 50 is going to come right back at him, but he tucks right behind him, and Xylon 96 is in third place with Sir Slayer in fifth with looks like it's going to be Ando 787 down in sixth place, but he's looking to make a move on. Duran 50 is going 3 wide. Surely not, but that almost ended up in tears there with Ando 787 not getting much time then. He drops down to sixth place with Sir Slayer, now promoted to fifth with Ando trying to block out Nightwalker 964. Does he outbreak him? No, he doesn't. So it looks like Ando and everybody else has managed to hold their positions perfectly. Unluckily for Rugworth though, he's run a little bit wide and a little bit onto that AstroTurf and onto the grass section, as we saw Robbo run a little bit too deep then, and right in the background, yep, looks like Rugworth just had a bit of a bad moment there and has now dropped himself all the way down to last place. But so far, advantage goes to Viper Z over Matt and Cylon 96.
Yeah, it was a very nice start there, and I think this is what Viper wants, because Viper feels that Matt is stronger than him in the touring cars, but then they're pretty even in the formula. So if if Viper can pull this off, it'd definitely be one to put in the hat for him. And also, going into the top 6 shootout tonight, you never know, he might get under Matt's skin.
absolutely. I think it's going to be definitely a bit of mind games between Viper and Matt for sure. So it looks like Viper's saying I could be the fastest driver. I'm definitely one of the fastest drivers in TS2 compared to your Honda. But I guess in a way, it's the change of machinery as well. Matt's not used to the Honda TS2 specs, while compared to the main series spec, which is far more faster, which is a lot faster than these cars.
Yeah, well, obviously they're carrying a lot more weight in this spec, but Matt isn't one that isn't so obviously familiar. Like he isn't unfamiliar with changing cars, obviously with experience and stuff like that. So I guess it'll just one to watch. And this would in the chat saying Hellcat powered Lexus.exe, mate. You wish, just because the Lexus is out front.
That's funny. But as we look down in third place, I've been noticing a fair bit of battling between Cylon and 96 and Duran 50. Now Duran 50 was, as soon as he made his debut in the TS2, he was unstoppable, where he went for a streak of 5 wins in a row before we saw the likes of Viper Z and Mid Matt join the series later on. But he's now actually been struggling to, at least in the race, he's been struggling to get himself past Xylon 96, especially because Xylon's been the man on the form. As we see, Little Blacko is not even in the top 8 on the leaderboard there, so he's dropped down well down the order in 9th place. So I'm not so sure, DJ, but I feel like Xylon and his momentum is definitely gonna bring him a little bit further up the front, and maybe, just maybe, he's learning from Matt and Viper and thinking, well, if I can get close to those guys, possibly I might be able to get myself in a win or a second place later on down the road.
Yeah, well, maybe he's actually Xylon's performance lately, ever since Mickey's, where you going, my friend?
No, that is, yeah, Mika's 1, 2, 3, making him. Oh yeah, he ran wide there, so just that was going to happen, a matter of time. So dirty tires and trying to negotiate chicane, it's not a good combination.
Yeah, and getting back to it, I guess Xylon is, as you said, probably learning from them, but also he can see the championship at his grasp. He can see how Blacko is kind of dropping down here and there, not really performing, and Xylon's up the front. So really he's like, oh, I'm up the front, Blacko's down the back, that's my championship points closing up. So as I was saying earlier in the TS3, even though he's not winning races, he's closing the points to the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's exactly right. And that was pretty much the roles reversed within the first few rounds, where Xylon was down the back but keeping consistent. At least he was always, but it was always interesting that he was always second in the championship over the first few rounds of the TS2 championship in the early days back in March and April. But it just slowly starts to close the gap, and then it starts to open up and then close the gap. But since Catalonia, only 2 months ago, that gap has only been going in one direction, and then it's been closing, and it's been closing fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out with a championship lead at the end of the Kyoto sprint. But this is the first race, and we've got at least another race and a half to go. So we strap ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ourselves a thriller coming the way. But leading the way at the end of lap 4, it is Viper Z in the 56 Satellite Racing Lexus taking the lead on lap 5 of 15, and Andy sets the fastest lap there with a 1 minute 20.7 there, so that's a really good lap there from Viper, with Matt from the BCG Racing in second place, Xylon 96 in third place in the 32 Toll MSI, with Duran 50 in the 50 CP Motorsports Nissan, not reverting, sticking with his beloved Nissan, unlike driving in the Honda like Matt is doing in second place. Ando 787 is doing a solid job on his return back to Trackstars in 5th place, with Sir Slayer 1991 in 6th. We have Nightwalker 964 in 7th place. So he's usually been, we haven't really talked much about Nightwalker so much because he's always hanging around the dark. His teammates down in the TS3 have been doing a solid performance, but Nightwalker's the sole representative in the WRT Motorsport in TS2, and he's been showing some good progress over the last few rounds.
Yeah, he's obviously come through from pre-qualifying here and there, and then he's just unfortunately, we didn't have pre-qualifying this week because not many people put their name down for it. So we just thought, well, don't worry about it. We'll just get everyone in. So we've got 13 entries. But yeah, Nightwalker's, he's kind of been a little bit of a silent assassin, I'd say. I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I think as well. Like, I mean, even with well, we were supposed to have H4M Wallet as well joining us, and I think those two have definitely been the silent assassins. But like I would say, the last couple of rounds has been more of an advantage to the guy in 8th place, Budsy76. He's been making some good progress in his Lexus, and this is his 3rd race in a row in the main TS2, and he's been showing some class over the last few weeks in the main series, in the main TS2 series, where he almost put on an exceptional performance in the Spa, in the wet at Spa, but none more than his actual race back at Monza last week, only a couple of weeks ago, where he almost ended up getting 3rd place before he got taken out the De La Roggia corners.
Yeah, we've had a lot of drivers, I think they're getting used to their car now. Like, I know we're 15 rounds in, but they might not have been comfortable so far with their cars, and they're starting to realise how the cars work, how they tune, and they might even be getting their tuning get better as well. So they're like, oh, alright, we'll try this tune. Okay, that doesn't work, we'll swap it. And then they go, alright, well, this one works, let's use this, but tweak it slightly. So, yeah, I guess it's good to see Budsy in the top 8, but I've seen him hovering around, say, the top 8 or so lately in the last couple of events. So, but to see where he's come from to where he's at now, it's, I'd be a pretty happy team owner if I was you.
Absolutely, and we've definitely seen his progress where he's been racing as a privateer for the VPG Racing, and he hasn't been able to, he's pretty much not really been up near the pointy end, but as soon as he's joined my team and we've managed to do a little bit of coaching just to get him settled into the Lexus, he's now definitely on the rise, and he's gapping Little Blacker massively. But another guy also that was introduced to our team is Rugworth in 10th place, and he's also been putting on a little bit more of a quiet run, I would say, compared to his first few rounds. But since Monza, he's been up or thereabouts. So I'll definitely want to keep an eye on Rugworth come race 2, and hopefully he can get some progression. Unluckily for him to make a mistake on lap 1, otherwise we could have seen him up in the top 8 for sure. But as we look back towards the front, we do see it is Matt that's actually overtaken Viper Z. Something must have happened there, so Viper Z maybe, I wonder if he got himself a half-second penalty in some case where he actually must have cut that chicane down the bottom of the hill.
By the looks of it being a 4-second gap, I think he may have kind of got a little bit wonky. Like he might have spun or lost it, and he just lost a bit of time there. But no Viper, and he's going to definitely put his head down and just be like, alright, I've got the fastest lap on you, Matt. I'm a little bit faster than you, is what I can see, yeah. So I wouldn't count out Viper with 9 laps to go. Is it 9 laps?
No, definitely.
7, 8
yeah. So definitely not long to go. And then also we see in 3rd place, Duran 50 has overtaken Xylon 96 only within the last lap or so. So Xylon dropped himself down to 4th place. But like I said, for Xylon, it's not really a matter of where he finishes; it's just where he finishes ahead of Little Blacko in the championship.
Yeah, and obviously going back to the winning championship without actually winning a race, like. That's obviously the benefit of with Xylon having Matt and Viper join in late in the series. So they've had to come from 0 points where Xylon was already on say 700 or 800 points. So it was definitely a valuable one with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's only managed to win the one race. I apologise. So his only race win came from Laguna Seca in race 2, which was probably about 3 months ago. He definitely had the car for that to take the clean sweep, but just a few little costly mistakes at the top of the hill before the corkscrew just ruined his chances of getting a clean sweep there. But he knows that he's a front runner since that race onwards, and he's never looked back. So definitely want to keep an eye on for Xylon in race 2, but still looking up towards those guys. I wonder what the progress of Ando 787 is coming along. I wonder if he's actually closing up to Xylon 96 there, or he might be a bit far back. He's not closing, but he can see him in his sights there. So Ando is known to be a front runner in the Trailblazers esports community, and also in the community in the World Touring Car Championship, the WTCC. He's always known to be a front runner. Papa can back me up in the chat with that. So Ando's a formidable driver to be up the front, but usually down in 5th place. He's not really. This is not usually his comfort zone, and but he knows that he hasn't been racing this series as long compared to the guys in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess having Ando back is really good, and seeing him in the top 5 is very, very good. I'd be very impressed with that. But if you look here, Blacko's closing up to Budsy, but he's also pulled along Rugworth, so I wouldn't like to be in Blacko's position right now, to be honest.
Yeah, well, he's gonna name it. He's pretty much in an MSR sandwich there, and we're gonna have maybe Rugworth think about making a move on Blacko, as Blacko gets a little bit all tail happy there at the last corner. So it looks like Rugworth might be able to tuck into the slipstream. Can he make a move before the first corner? It looks like it. Blacko goes defensive there. And all of a sudden, he's just pulled out of it with Little Blacko running a bit wide there. So I wonder if we could see a quick replay and an onboard, see if there's actually any contact there. Maybe not. That's okay. But it looked like, I'm not so sure if there was.
Yeah, sorry, it was glitched out. Go back in.
Yeah, that's okay. So unfortunately, that's all good. But I think that contact was. I don't know whether it was a little bit more of a. It kind of looked like a late move there from Little Blacko on Little Blacko's end compared to Rugworth. I think Rugworth was committed to the inside, and Blacko kind of jolted in the last second, I'd say.
Yeah, I think from that aspect, Rugworth went, as you said, went to the inside, and then Blacko was holding his line, and then all of a sudden shunted and then hit the brakes. So in that aspect, it's not really Rugworth's fault. So Rugworth is committed to the inside, Blacko's committed to the outside. So it is in the ruling there that in the braking zone, you can only really move, or coming into the braking zone, you really only move once, kind of not really at all. So if he was on the inside there, he should have moved over a lot earlier than what he did there. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because we didn't get to see the onboard, unfortunately. But looks like, oh, what's going on here? Budsy looks like he got a poor exit there, and he's just trying to get away from the slipstream for Blacko. But looks like Blacko's definitely got a little bit more pace on Budsy. Budsy had the initial pace at the beginning, but it looks like maybe the tyre wears for him. The tyre is wearing a little bit faster for him compared to, say, Little Blacko's. He might be conserving a little bit of tyre wear, and is now tucked in right behind the rear wing of the number 76. But can he go for the inside move? It looks like he's going for an inside move on Budsy 76. Taking that inside line. Is Budsy going to hold around the outside? He's committed to it, but he's just run a bit wide. Can he get a bit of a slingshot effect? No, he doesn't, but he's going to try and tuck right back in the slipstream, try and take that inside line. Little Blacko goes defensive, and it looks like Blacko is going to take that position. So very nice driving there between Budsy and Blacko, as Blacko takes 8th place of Budsy 76. But looking up towards the front, we do see Mint Matt leading the way for the BCG, car number 89. In 2nd place, we have Viper Z in the Satellite Racing in the number 56 with Duram 50. In 3rd place for the CP Motorsports with Cylon 96 in 4th place, and 787 in 5, and it looks like Nightwalker's actually promoted himself up into 6th place there. So definitely a great showing for Nightwalker there over Sir Slayer. So I wonder maybe because with a performance like Nightwalker's, I wonder if WRT are secretly trying to put a claim to be main series runners in next year's event.
Yeah, well, I mean, the entries are there, the entries are open, and I know as well as you do that we've got a big decision on our hands. Oh, Slater goes up for an inside move there, but yeah, no, we've got a very big decision now on who to bring in, and obviously Pit Lane Esports isn't going to be in the main series next year, so that opens up one spot, and then obviously you have your main teams already in there. They're at the top of the list. But we can also have other teams in place of that if we feel that other drivers aren't, say, either committed or what their attendance is like. So if they're not really attending many and they're kind of late, like stuff like that, we kind of take that into consideration. So, but the entries are there for all teams, and yeah, as you said, I reckon WFE might be putting a little sneaky entry in. So we'll wait and see.
Absolutely, and they've been showing some good form, at least in the TS3 and with Nightwalker and TS2. So maybe the drivers from TS2 might make a move to TS2, but possibly Nightwalker and a teammate of his choosing might be able to make a bold claim for the main series for the main series coming up short. As we see a disconnect or somebody leave there, who was that?
That's Budsy.
Ooh, Budsy's got a bit of a disconnect there, so that's a little bit unlucky for Budsy there. So very unfortunate for him. He was running well there, but maybe duty calls. He is a dad, so he's probably he had to go do some babysitting with his kids. So who knows? But yeah. But going back to WRT, I have a feeling, but they do have a good chance of putting at least a form in, at least an entry into the main series next year, with Nightwalker leading the charge, and maybe somebody like Warpath 360, if he ends up winning the championship in TS2, maybe he might be able to make a claim to take that second seat next to Nightwalker. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we have all the team spots open there for everyone to submit, and then we'll come to the decision then. Fingers crossed GT7 has bigger lobbies. That is all we ask for. So please, please give us 20 to 30 car lobbies and we will be amazed.
We'll be happy. We'll be able to actually have good racing lobbies. That would be great. But yeah, but like I said, we had the introduction of GT7 coming out on March 4th, March 4th, 2022. So a lot of time between then and now, and obviously the game is going to go through a beta test, beta version, and hopefully we'll be able to get hands on that, DJ, and I'll be definitely looking to play that once the beta version comes out.
Yeah, definitely. If the beta version does come out, I'll try and get a hold of that, and we may even see it on the Trackstars YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. But everyone will be updated in the Discord if that is happening. If you're new in the chat, join the Trackstars Discord. I believe it is in the description below. If not, just message one of us, and then point you in the right direction. So.
Absolutely right. But we're coming up towards the final lap. It looks like it's going to be a mint Matt victory here, and it's going to advantage Matt Simmons in the number 89 Honda NSX from his beloved Nissan to the probably the unbeloved, probably the not favorite car for Matt in TS2. That's for sure. But luckily for him, what's happened to Viper's set here? He's dropped down massively there. So what happened here? He looked like burned a penalty. Okay, I thought something happened there. I was just like, surely he couldn't have gone off like on the first corner. But yeah, but that showed it was a penalty there. So yep. So that's definitely going to be a victory for Matt in the number 89 with Viper Z in second place. Duran 50, a nice showing for him in third place, with Cylon 96 in fourth place. And looks like, yeah, he's definitely pulled a gap on Ando there for sure. But Ando's coming back into the series and he's learning the car, learning the drivers, and hopefully maybe he might be able to move himself up into maybe a podium position in the next race. But time will tell as we look towards Matt for the final time, coming towards the chicane for the last time in the BCG Racing. Car number 85 will be partnering up with It's Racing Jarmandalis in the main series in Kyoto 500 Enduro, but for the final time of race 1 in TS2, it belongs to Matt, car 89, and BCG Racing takes out the victory for the first race and the fastest lap on the final lap there. So big congratulations to big BCG and Matt for taking victory and line honours, with Viper Z in second place for Satellite Racing and Duran 50 rounding up the podium in third place, with Cylon 96 in fourth. As we see Sir Slayer in fifth. Something's happened to Ando 787 on the final lap, DJ.
Yeah.
As he's done something. So he's definitely messed it up on that final chicane there. That's definitely, if he's that slow, or maybe he's definitely made a mistake on that final chicane there, for sure.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there. So he's dropped back down all the way to 7th. So he was putting in a solid performance there, but commentator's curse strikes again, and he drops back down to 7th.
That is a little bit unlucky there for Ando there. So very unlucky to see And down in 7th with that final lap mistake. He didn't really need to push the car too much because he definitely had a huge gap on Nightwalker and Sir Slayer. But anyway, it is a driver's instinct. You know, you want to push it. You want to push it to the last lap, and you want to try and get fastest lap or personal best laps, whatever. So I think that's what he was trying to do. But anyhow, it's a 7th place for Rando, but it's a victory for BCG and in Matt DJ.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, it's a solid congratulations there to Matt in the 89 Honda NSX. Fantastic looking car. I do love that colour. It's fantastic with fastest lap and clean race bonus. So that concludes race 1 of round 15.
So awesome stuff there from Matt. So big congratulations to him for taking out race 1 for the Kyoto Sprint. It is Matt taking first place with Viper Z in second, Duram 50 in third. So that's your podium for. I would say that's kind of like our usual. I would say in a way that's more or less our usual podium in TS2, kind of like the Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Max Verstappen podium in a way. So I would say those 3 are very similar to the real life Formula 1 drivers. So, but Xylon 96 is definitely not far behind, and he's definitely a name up there that can definitely be charging for the podium. So, struggled a little bit. Looks like he struggled a little bit in that last race, but settles down for 4th place with Nightwalker getting that top 5 after that. And a mistake with Sir Slayer in 6th. Little Blacko clawing his way back up into 8th with Rugworth 9th. Robbo Sport in 10th with Minkez 1, 2, 3. In 11th place with Devlin Calypso in 12th. And the only DNF we had there was Budsy 76.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate there from Budsy to cop that DNF. But I'm getting words through from Viper's Head that it goes, Liam cooked it. That was a message from him. And he goes, apparently he had a huge moment over the curbs and it just spat him out. So unfortunate there. Yeah. So unfortunate there. So we've got break. But usually have a 5-minute break in between races, just to give the guys maybe a bathroom break to get a drink, something like that. Maybe change a little bit of a tune if they're not coping really well. So we try and do what we can here at Trackstars. Accommodate the drivers in all aspects. So these guys do have tuning unlike the TS3.
Absolutely, and it's all about getting that tune right and trying to try to find those extra few tenths, like you found yourself, DJ, as you mentioned earlier in the stream. That tuning becomes really crucial in at least around this track, from where you can be at a certain section at a certain time with the lap time, but then all of a sudden you do one small few changes and then you instantly gain 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, and I did that to myself, I think, with the tune that Liam gave me, obviously, and then I kind of wasn't really finding much turning to the corners, and then I made a few little changes and then instantly gained 3/10. So it's incredible how if you make one little tiny change, it can make such a big difference. So, but I am on the pad, so it's not as smooth through the corners as what I would be if I was on a wheel, which obviously Matt's on a wheel. I don't know if Viper's on a pad or a wheel, so might be after one to ask.
Maybe one to ask, because he did race on the wheel back in Monza, so maybe he might be going back to his pad, so who knows.
Yeah, so I know he is probably more comfortable on his pad, but he's on a DS4, so I'm on a DS5, and I'm like, we'll see what happens. So I did end up going back to a DS4 on my DS5, so it was a little bit slower, but I guess that's what it is. So
you can actually practice, so you can actually connect a DS4 to a PlayStation 5, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so if you just plug it in via USB initially, and then you can just play it wirelessly, so basically the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah, and then
okay.
So we'll
I
see.
didn't know that. That's something very interesting.
Looks like Viper and Matt are trying to get efficient starts, trying to see.
Yeah, well, it looks like well, I think the guy with the best starts is not it's more Viper Z than Matt, but I would say as they haven't if that happens in the race, then great, we can have a new challenger for the win. But no, but I would say the best starter so far, I would say it would either be Viper Z or Cylon 96. Those two have been having incredible starts in the come when it comes to lights out. So definitely with Cylon in fourth and Viper in second, maybe those two could work together to try and maybe give those cars a bit more of a push into being at least 1 and 3 come the end of turn 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's nice to get the Lexus off the line, and once you get it off the line really nice, it's really good. But to get it right 2 or 3 times in a row, it's a little bit hard. But yeah, maybe they might take the Lexus power to the Honda and the Nissan and just be like, let's take it to them and try and get in front. And I did see that message Gabans before he deleted it, and rumour has it no controller support on GT7, mate. That would be very disappointing. But yes, Woodsy just not as gifted on the DS4 like some others.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Actually, going back to that, I was at Catalonia when I realised, so I was racing on GT Sport for like over 18 months, and I realised you could turn up the controller steering sensitivity. So I was racing on 0 for 18 months. I turned it up to 7 at Catalonia, and I was just like, what have I done? What have I missed out on?
Oh, that's funny. Well, probably by the time if you noticed that on round 1, you probably would have been leading the championship by now.
Oh mate, it would have been fantastic if I had found out earlier. So I have started to get my head around everything a lot better, and I feel like for my first season in Track Stars, I'm going pretty well, frankly.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you've definitely improved a lot, which is great. And coming from your round 1 onwards and up until the Kyoto 500, there's a lot of racing to be done between the first round and the first enduro. But yeah, absolutely, the driving has improved from yourself, and you've definitely been making a few charge. And since I would say after your Blue Moon Bay 500 victory, you've definitely been up on the charge, up near the front, which is pretty good to see from you.
Yeah, and obviously that Blue Moon Bay 500, and thank you to Mr. Woodsy for the little bump draft there. I did pass yourself on the second last corner, but that win definitely gave me a lot more confidence in the racing. So I guess once you kind of get a win maybe under your belt, it gives you a little bit more confidence. So
yeah, absolutely. And I'm just seeing in the chat, Gaban said he was on the motion. He was using the motion sensor on the DS4, but now he's moved back to the wheels since March. So, yeah, I mean, even the motion sensor is a little bit weird. That I mean, we know that Broccolilli in the number 13 ABM Motorsport, he runs the motion sensor on the DS4, and it feels a bit weird. I've tried it myself months and months ago, but I can't get a handle of it at all.
Yeah, I've never actually tried.
It just feels a little bit strange, because it's like, obviously it's kind of like, yes, you kind of feels like you're driving a wheel, but not really.
Yeah, and I think having to kind of accelerate, brake, change gears, as well as turn with your hands, I don't know, I just think I'd feel a little bit uncoordinated.
Absolutely. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here on the Track Stars Racing Series YouTube channel, live and free, where we have Matt in the number 89 BCG Motorsport, a racing entry Honda NSX, taking pole position with Viper Z in second place, with Ram 50 in third, Styler 96 in fourth, Nightwalker in fifth, and Sir Slayer sixth, with Ando 787. As we wait for those lights and wait for DJ to jump back onto the track, it is lights out and green flag racing. So it looks like, well, look at that, I called it, DJ. Viper Z has come out the blocks and with a perfect start over mid-map, but we're going 3 wide into turn 1 between Ram 50, Xylon 96 and Nightwalker, and they're both coming out of that nice and easy. They have done, so they've managed to sort themselves out, with Xylon 96 tucked in behind Ram 50 in 4th place, Nightwalker on the charge in 5th, with Sir Slayer in 6th, Ando 787 stuck in 7th place, whilst we see Little Blacko in 8th place there. But we're seeing a car's drifting wide there. We see Xylon 96 get a little bit pushed wide by Nightwalker, but Nightwalker looks like he thought he had the run, but he doesn't actually, so he'll stick right behind him. Does Ando go for a move on Sir Slayer? No, he doesn't, so he sticks right behind him. So a nice little single file clean start by all of our drivers. We see Ando back there go a little bit too wide there on the curbing there, and he's dropped down a few positions. Yes, he's actually gone back down towards Little Blacko and Rugworth positioning there. So runs a bit wide there, and oof, yeah, so that's definitely going to cost Ando a lot of positioning. He's going to lose one, not just one, maybe two positions at the end of this hairpin.
Yeah, and simply make one little tiny mistake, as I was saying earlier in the first race. You might lose one position, you might lose 2, 3, 4, 5, so anything's possible. Oh, he's got a little bit of a touch up there on Rugworth, so. And Blacko runs a little bit wide, so Ando just sips through the inside, gets a nice run onto the main straight, and hopefully can hold that position off there for Blacko.
Absolutely, so it looks like that's going to be a battle between those guys, but looks like Viper Z did get the jump on mid-mat. They were both starting their practice starts there, and Viper Z looks like he'd be practicing a little bit more, and he's got his Lexus RCF flying at the commence of lap 2. It is Viper Z leading the way ahead of mid-mat, Duran 50 in third with Silo 96 in fourth. Looks like Nightwalker 964 is doing a great job, and he looks like he's holding off Sir Slayer there for 5th place. Can Sir Slayer think about making a move down towards the chicanes? He looks to think about going deep, as he does go deep, but he just backs out of it the last second there, so the gap was closing pretty quickly, but he's done himself an excellent job. Good racing between Nightwalker and Sir Slayer there, so well done to those guys. As we see Ando getting himself a little bit more comfortable now in 7th place, but got himself right at the back of Sir Slayer, but still DJ Viper Z leads the way.
Yeah, and he did say that he wanted to take it to Matt in race 2, so maybe he might just be settling in, letting these tyres come back up to temperature, and just try and get a little bit more of a gap onto Matt. So I think where the Lexus is strong, the Honda isn't, but where the Honda is strong, the Lexus isn't. So I guess it's kind of a much of a muchness with the multi-class, but we should see Viper go with the 121.06. Matt came through with the 121.01. So they're pretty much on par with each other in lap times.
Absolutely.
So
I wonder if we can get like an onboard with Matt, for example, and so that way we can actually see what his lines are compared to Viper Z's lines. So as he's coming down towards the second sweep corner, they try to run it wide and then try to hug it into the inside line. So he's just not clipping the apex on that one compared to Viper Z. But this is one I really want to see, at least this downhill section. Just try to run it right on the curbing. And oh, he's messed that up big time. So we caught that on the stream. So that's a good one. Good work there, DJ. But I did see Duran 50. We might cut back to live action. We might see Duran 50 overtake Matt coming up towards the hairpin. He's just too much entry speed there. And yes, it is actually. So Duran 50 has made the move. It looks like Duran. Well, that's all good. Duran 50 looks like he's made the move on Matt after that costly mistake there. So Duran 50 is now in 2nd place with Viper Z in 1st place. So that's a good showing there by Mid-Matt, by Viper Z. It looks like Mid-Matt got himself a half second there, as we see that. Yes, he has. So he's gone from 2nd to 4th place within the space of a few corners there after going a little bit too deep there, and that promotes both Duran and Xylon onto the podium.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate mistake there and very costly by Matt. So maybe the little mistake that he made into the chicane, he tried to push a little bit too hard down the back and he copped a little half-second penalty. So as we were saying earlier, commentator's curse, you make one little mistake, you'll lose one position, maybe 2, maybe 3.
Absolutely, and we've seen this nice ding-dong battle between Nightwalker, Sir Slayer, and now Ando 787 is coming in for the charge as well. So that's definitely a battle for 5th place. It's going to be really good. It's going to be on the cards here. But I would say if Mid-Matt is trying to push a little bit too hard, as we see Sir Slayer push a bit too hard, and that'll promote Ando 787 to put himself up into 6th place there. So nice little patience there from Ando, and he's up into 6th place. So very good job there for Ando to get himself nice and patiently and wait patiently and get himself up into 6th. But yeah, if you push, I guess in a way, if you push the Honda a bit too hard, it does bite you back, as we see Xylon 96 make a huge mistake there, coming up towards the fast chicane there, as we see that quick replay from Xylon 96. What's happened here? It looks like he's gone a little bit too fast and too wide, or too much entry, and yes, he's just gone straight into the barriers there, and hasn't been able to hold it since. Does he keep 3rd place? No, he doesn't, and Mid-Matt's going to take that 3rd place off him, so what was looking to be a good podium is now back down in the 4th place, DJ.
Yeah, and that chicane there can either agree with you or disagree with you, and sadly for Zola there, it bounced him a little bit too far out into the grass. So.
Absolutely, and I just caught it in the background there. Ando made a move on Nightwalker through the S's there. It looked like a really nice move there. They were going side by side, and Nightwalker decided to give him the space. And yeah, so good timing there, good replay action here. And looks like, yep, Ando's got a little bit more priority over Nightwalker, and Nightwalker obeyed, and he tucked him right behind. So that's good sportsmanship from those guys, and that promotes Ando up into 5th place. So now he'll be thinking about making the charge on Xylon 96 in 4th place. So that'll be a great result and a great return for Ando 787 here at Trackstars. But still leading the way in the 56. It is the satellite racing zone. 5% over Duran 50, and Matt in 3rd place.
Yeah, and he's actually set the fastest lap with a 1:20.941, and then the lap after that it was a 1:20.957. So I think he might match that time. Yeah, he does, 1:20.825. So he's gone faster again. Like he's on the pace for this. So I think this might be giving him a little bit of confidence for the top 6 shootout tonight. Hopefully.
Well, absolutely. So definitely, I think he's trying to. I guess in a way, if he's up there at the front, maybe he's trying to learn some lines, thinking about, or if I run a little bit wide on this curbing here to get a bit more of an entry speed, will that gain me more time? Things like that. I mean, you're running with less power, yes, but I guess in a sense, you're kind of learning at the same time.
Yeah, I mean. That's probably how he would see it, and he's gapping Duran, so he's actually gone purple through the 2nd sector. So I wonder if he's just trying to pull as much time as he can on Matt in 3rd place. So the more time he pulls out now, the more work Matt has to do, use more tyre, use more fuel, etc, etc. So he's gone purple again through the 3rd sector, which is good to see. So as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he looks like he might get the win here. And if that's the case, because he finished 2nd in the first one, and if Matt does get Duran, it's a 2.1 second gap, but we all know the speed of Matt, so he may close that down. If Matt does finish 2nd, you'll see Viper take out the overall win because he didn't qualify in front of him.
Absolutely, and I did call back there. Ando was looking to make the charge on Xylon 96, and he's closed that gap massively. It was about 3.1 a couple of laps before, but now it's down to about 1.1 seconds there between those guys, and Ando's doing a great job to catch up towards Xylon 96 in the number 32 MSR Lexus. So he's doing himself a good favour, and good form to see him, and he's definitely a driver on form. Anywhere you see him race, he's definitely always up within the top 3, even in 1st place.
Yeah, and then it's good to see, obviously with all drivers as well, like we're having obviously Viper and Matt up the front, but then you see Xylon up there, Duran, and then Ando making his comeback. Like, if Ando's making this kind of speeds after having, say, 6 months out, if he was still in the series full time, what kind of speeds would he be pulling now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he definitely would have been making a charge towards Blacko and Xylon. He would have been putting up a fight between those guys. So, yeah, what could have been for Ando? I mean, as much as we love him to hang around with us, but obviously he's got a few more things. He is a full-time pilot with Qantas, so obviously travelling commitments do happen. But with the year it's been, DJ, with COVID-19 and travel talks have been faded from memory. It's all about just hoping and waiting to see what happens come the end of the year. But who knows what's going to happen? Come at least, well, we're looking around in New South Wales around that mid-October for everything to open up.
Yeah, well, we're looking at roughly around the 18th of October, somewhere there, as long as you're double vaccinated. So it's all about the whole double vaccination COVID thing. So I guess we're just trying to do as much as we can and get everyone back into work, and people such as Ando being a pilot who can't travel at the moment. So unfortunately for him, he's just trying to do what he can in the meantime. But it looks like he's closed up the gap there a little bit more to Xylon. So if Xylon's not careful, he will have the Nissan GDR or Xylon right behind him.
Absolutely. So it's about lap 8 of 15, so about halfway into the race, ladies and gentlemen. So Ando's getting really close to Xylon 96 there, so a lot better in car setup this race compared to the last one, so he's definitely found something in that 5-minute break that Xylon 96 probably hasn't. So it's definitely a lot of time when it comes to tuning, but if you find that right tune, you're definitely going to be up on the charge. You're going to be up there with the front runners, that's for sure. But we see, but as we look towards Ando 787 making a move on Xylon 96, it is still Viper Z with no challenges whatsoever. I wonder if Duran 50 is getting closer towards Mid-Mat. It looks like it's closing slightly, but not so much.
Yeah, it's about 1.8 seconds, so it's kind of about, it was 2.1, I'd say a lap or two ago, so it's kind of not, Duran's holding his own, which is good to see there. So as much as Matt's experience does, Duran's like, don't worry about your experience, mate, I've got something to say about that.
Absolutely, and we're going to be seeing, well, at least the top three in Viper Z, Duran 50, and Mid-Mat all making the top 6 shootout later on this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So that's something you'll need to you need to look forward to. Around 7:45 p.m. we will go live here on the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel, where we'll bring you live for the top 6 shootout, where we will have drivers like Jono Stan 96 partnering up with myself in the number 1. Then we will have Duran 50 partnering up with full-time runner V Papa 18 and number 4 CP Motorsports. We'll have the car number 66 of Diswood 1 and Speedy Tyres going forces together in the number 66. In third place we'll have yourself with Viper Z doing the shootout lap in third place, and then second place we've got Captain Risky and Punts, with Punts going to be doing the hot lap in the top 6 shootout, and then we have the at least I would say the favourites for the Kyoto 500, Mid-Mat and It's Racing and Jarman Dalitz, that'll be taking up the final runner of the top 6 shootout.
Yeah, it's going to be a very solid shootout, and we're obviously going to have Jarman Dalitz, as long as his headset is cooperating. We'll hopefully have him in the box, running through how everything's going to go. But in the middle of all this stuff, I do need to go and get dinner as well. So I think after this one, I'm going to shoot off very quickly. But it's going to be a very big night, and we're going through on how we're going to run it and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure we've got it all down pat and set, ready for the guys, the 6 guys to take to the track for the top 6 shootout.
Absolutely. So as we go through the grid, at the end of lap 10, we have Viper Z leading the way in first place in the 56 with Duran 50 in second in the car 50. Mid-Mat from BCG Racing in third place. Xylon 96 still holding off Ando 787 in fourth place there. We have Sir Slayer in 1991 in 6th place, just getting his move done on Nightwalker in 7th, with Little Blacko in 8th place, Rugworth in 9th place in the 74 with RSR Robo Sport doing a nice solid job for himself in 10th place, with his teammate Nikez 123 in 11th place, and then the final runner of the 12 runners, Devlin Calypso from Belgium in the car number 666 Speed Demon Racing in 12th place.
Solid performance there by all drivers, and unfortunately there for Devlin, he may drop back behind the field, so hopefully he doesn't get lapped here, and if he does, that'll be very unfortunate. But by the looks of it, if it stays like this, Viper doesn't make any mistakes, he will take the win, so that's very good for him. And then Duran 50, I don't know, oh no, Matt would take that because he did qualify in front of him, so
yeah, I think so too. I think Mid-Mat would just get that second place over Duran 50. So it'll be very close, but it looks like the round win, if it stays like this, it'll go towards Viper Z in the 56, with Mid-Mat, then Duran 50, and then Xylon 96 in 4th place there. But I think 5th place is going to be up for debate though, because Ando should have, in theory, should have finished in 5th place at the end of race 1, but a costly mistake on the second last corner cost him 2 positions on the final lap there. So we'll wait and see how 5th place is. But as we see down there, it looks like Rugworth made a move on Little Blacko there, for 8th place, and he's done that very nicely on the final corner there. So great job for Rugworth, and good confidence for him as he's thinking about, as he makes that inside move into the final corner, nice and heavy on the brakes, runs him wide, and that's a very good move there by Rugworth, and now he takes 8th place.
Yeah, it's very nice, and we can see obviously Xylon would, don't know if Zolan will be able to see that, but it's obviously going good to his championship. So I feel like if that was Blacko, I'd be like, mate, come on, I'm the championship leader, let me go. But Rugworth goes, mate, I'm in the championship too, let me go.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something you can't forget as well. We have Rugworth, he's actually sitting, probably I would say probably sitting about third in the championship after Monza. So with runners like JMX not being available for TS2 for the last couple of rounds, that's definitely moving up Rugworth up in the championship. That'll probably promote him up into third place as he runs a little bit wide on the hairpin there. Now he's going to get a little bit harassed there by a little Blacko there. So who's going to have the right of way? This is going to get pretty ugly, but looks like Rugworth is going to hold the outside. He holds the outside. They're still going side by side, but looks like Blacko has just gotten ahead. Does Robbo think about making a move on Rugworth? No, he doesn't. So good battles there between the back end of the field there. So like I was saying, I think Rugworth, it might be third place in the championship, but I'll have to wait and see. But as we see Matt make a move on Duran 50, and he takes second place there, and that is a great move there and a nice patient move there by Matt coming up towards the second sweeper, and that will probably promote Matt to first place overall bragging rights.
Yeah, at the moment, no, it'll be second because Viper did qualify first. So yes, so because Viper qualified first, he would be taking first outright. So it's good to see because he is 8 seconds in front, and unless Viper has a massive off, I guess he looks like he might be taking the outright win for this one.
That's good to see, but yeah. But as I was saying, with Rugworth being third in the championship, and he knows that Blacko is a threat to Xylon's charge towards the top of the ladder, I would say, you know, Rugworth doing a favour for Xylon, it's a really good thing because he's holding off drivers like Mikez and RoboSport, who are also in that third place fight in the championship as well. So Rugworth he's doing himself a good favour battling with the likes of Blacko and those boys, but I feel like he needs to probably move himself a little bit further up the grid if he wants to secure third place in the championship.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the tables here. He does have Mickey's behind him, so he's at the moment. At the moment he's on the grass there, but he's dropped all the way down to 11th there. Yeah. So something happened in between the Duran 50 move on mid-mat there. Something happened there, so Rugworth drops all the way down to 11th place. So one for him to forget and hopefully learn for the next round. But as we see, looks like Viper's got himself a half-second penalty there, so hopefully he burns that. I'm pretty sure he knows how to burn his penalties, no issues at all. But half-second, I would say that came from the chicane at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, 100%, and I know that he isn't having the best War of the Worlds at the moment, as he burns that. Very nice, good work, mate. You know what you're doing. Yeah, so that 8.5 second gap, burning that half-second penalty would wouldn't phase him at all. So
absolutely, and as I look down the field, I see Ando is actually ahead of Xylon 96. Yes, he is. So Ando has made a move on Xylon 96, and Xylon 96 is going to try and think about making a move back on Ando for the final lap here. So, but I feel like Xylon's going to still take 4th place overall, but he wants that 4th place on the track here. So we know the top 3, but the 4th place is still undecided, DJ.
Yeah, and I think because Ando, I think he finished 7th, I think it was. That will promote Xylon back up into 4th, but don't count Xylon out here. He's only 1.1 away from Ando, so we may see him stick behind him until the last corner, or earlier. But yeah, if I was him, I'd kind of try and stay behind him, get a nice run, and make a move.
I think that gap's opened up a little bit too much there, unfortunately. So it looks like Ando's got 4, Xylon's got 5. We look towards the front for the final time, but this time new winner here at Trackstars TS2 in the Kyoto Sprint round. It is car number 56 taking out the victory and at least I would say the round win for Viper Z for the satellite racing. So congratulations, Zed, in the 56 for taking out the race and the round victory here at Kyoto, and it's a big advantage for him over his rival in mid-come top 6 shootout later on this evening, with Ando in 4th place. A great performance by him Xylon 96 in 5th place, with Sir Slayer in 6th place for the Racing Eagles 931, with Nightwalker 964, great performance in 7th place. Little Blacko ahead of his teammates in Sport and Mick, followed by Rugworth down in 11th place, and our only retiree of the race has been Devlin Calypso.
Yeah, solid performance there by all drivers. It was very good to watch. And this would saying congratulations to Duran for holding Matt off, and that was a very astounding job. He did very well for that to get third. So he'll get third outright. So basically, as they finished the last race, is how they finished the round. So big congratulations to Viper Z in the Satellite Racing Lexus RCF fastest lap and clean race bonus. So that'll be some more Monopoly money coming my way if I'm correct there.
Yeah, I think you won a few more than me tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, considering I can't win anything on Sportsbet, my Monopoly money is coming my way, so I'll be happy to gamble that away next round. So.
Oh, I'm pretty sure this Wood has got a lot of Monopoly money to give away anyway. He's won enough from the touring cars, so he can lend some off to you.
Yeah, no,
but as we round up the grid, it is Viper Z taking out the victory ahead of Matt in the 89 and then Duran 50 in the 50. So big congratulations to the top three, with Ando 787 in 4th place and Xylon 96 rounding up the top 5. So as we sign off, DJ, we're going to get ourselves ready, going to get ourselves fed, and probably a few beverages here and there as we get ready for the qualifying for the top 6 shootout, ladies and gentlemen. That'll come around to your screens in about 40 minutes time. But until then, we thank you so much for tuning in for the Trackstars TS2 Touring Car Series, round 15 for the Kyoto Sprint. Big congratulations to Viper Z and the Satellite Racing. We'll see those guys in the next month for the Bathurst event. But until now, stay tuned for the top 6 shootout.